This is Daishi checking back in to continue Trilby's notes. When we last left off, we just come back from a flashback, so now we're going to continue from this point on. Okay. Hopefully I can get some significant work done in the next hour, I'm hoping. What did I just get in my inventory? I got a matchbox. Oh, that's for a reason. Again, having completed most of this previously, I'm fairly aware of what I need to be doing and picking up. So there won't be any of me blindly wandering around the hotel. I have a definite objective in my head, especially knowing what I have in my inventory right now. For instance, take a look at that wall. The hallway was decorated identically to the majority of the rooms in the Clan Brownwind Hotel, warmly and pleasantly. Look at alarm. There's a circular white heat sensor presumably tied to the hotel's fire safety system. Use match on alarm. Oh god! Okay, no. Again, still scary, even though I've already played this before. Anyway, placing that match to that alarm, open this door, since this is a fire escape. I pushed my way through the door and descended the fire escape. Right. Pick up crowbar. Really? Because you're standing right next to it. Pick up crowbar. I took the crowbar with me. Perhaps it could serve a purpose. Right, so that's done. There we go up. I couldn't do that just then. Oh, climb fence. There'd have been little point to doing so when the hotel still had serviceable doors. Alright, so climb ladder. There's nothing else to do up here. What I needed was that crowbar. Right. I hate this section of the game. Anything having to do with this nightmare realm. Even though, again, I've already gone through it, I'm still terrified. Although, again, I do have the crowbar. Oh, okay, the music is in my ear and it's freaking me out. Crowbar on boards. As I had suspected, the stress proved too much for the ancient crowbar, which was bent to uselessness. I discarded it. Okay, so I'm going to use a pill. I took another pill. Then I'm going to open the door. Oh, and look where I am. Take Coke. I didn't understand the word Coke. Take cola. I took the drink with me. Something told me it would come in useful, although I don't remember what. I don't remember ever using it. See, Speedy Cola. Why is that important? I don't know. Sure, I'll game FAQ that at some point today. Professor Jail's antique show was as sparse as its small venue would indicate. A couple of tables was laid out with various trinkets, and a charred rocking chair was the centerpiece. What's this? Look at table. On the display tables, I recognized one or two DeFoe Manor artifacts among the miscellaneous knickknacks. A set of manacles, rescued no doubt from the manor's basement, stood out the most. I spotted the chisel the professor had mentioned next to the pile of books on the north table. Alright, so take manacles. I don't think you can, actually. If anything would retain some of John DeFoe's malevolent power, those manacles would. I refuse to touch them. Alright, so take chisel. A loud buzzing played in my ears, and my vision began to cloud as I reached over and laid my hand upon the tool. Oh. Another flashback. Somewhere in the Atlantic, July 25th, AD 1789. Mbata had been a great warrior. In battle, his skill was thought unmatched in all of Africa. He had respect, a great house, a slew of beautiful women, children to make any father proud. But through just one mistake, it had all been torn away. His mistake was in standing by his beloved king when the invaders from the coastal kingdom arrived. Now his great house was ruined, his women raped, his children murdered. Wow, it pretty much all happened to Mbauta. And for Mbauta, the worst fate of all, sold to the white men in exchange for weapons, shackled with his fellows in the hold of a slave ship. Mbauta was strong. Perhaps he could have lived as a slave, but then came the sickness. Simple fever, no doubt to be gone the next day, but the white men took no chances and threw him overboard. Again, I'm a historian, for those of you who don't know. They would not have done this. For days, Mbauta drifted, waiting for the black cloud of death to descend. Having lost everything, he now sought only the embrace of the deep, a welcome end to a life betrayed. But the end did not come then. Humming around, Captain. Voices unfamiliar, speaking an unfamiliar language. Mbauta was suddenly terrified that the slavers must have returned, but he was as weak as a newborn and could not move or speak. Looks like we picked him up just in time. Don't know how long he's been drifting out here, but he can't have lasted much longer. Good Lord! Look upon it, men. The greatest evidence we have of humanity's inherent evil. Never forget that men, sailors such as you or I, did this. Left this poor wretch to die. Slavers aren't sailors like you or I, Captain. No. I do not know how those devils can have the audacity to still call themselves human. Today there's no pride in being an Englishman. Find our new passenger some quarters, make him comfortable. Passenger, Captain. Every innocent who sets foot in my ship is a free man. Is there something about this policy you find questionable? Not at all, Captain. No, these were not the slavers. The ship was different, less crowded with terrified black faces. There was anger in the voices of the white men, but not directed at Mbauta. Still frightened, but somewhat reassured, Mbauta passed out. Days passed, and Mbauta's health was restored. To have been rescued by the ship of these good white men had been a fantastic stroke of good fortune. He decided that it had been the will of the gods that he should survive, and that proper thanks would be in order. An idol, that was the answer. If he could just find some suitable wood and a sharp blade, he would carve the finest idol of his life. Alright, everyone hold up for just 1 second. Alright, hello, this is Daishi, and I'm getting back into Trilby's notes, I believe. So what happened was my friend was having an emergency, needed to go to the dentist. So, while I did that, the game just sort of sat here. I came back, forgot about it, now I'm back into it. So, when I left off, I believe we're about to find out what happened on the Sea Angel with our, I guess, cast-off slave, Mbauta. I think I had a lot of problems with this section of the game because it was so historically inaccurate, but I'm not going to bring that up, hopefully. Anyway, he needs to carve a statue. So he's about to go off and do that right now. There goes Mbauta, the only black man on the ship. Mbauta could not understand the white man's language. Any communication would have to be non-verbal. Point to ocean. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Point to ship. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Point to sailor. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Point to Mbauta. Don't understand. Well, you're the one that's named it. Point to boat. Mbauta wasn't close enough to any of the sailors. There's not really too much to do in these flashbacks, so it's not too complicated anyway. Point to boat. What you're trying to tell me? I don't understand. Right, point to chisel. Right there, laddie. Oh, I see. You want something to carve with. Here. Sailor handed Mbauta a sharp, almost brand new workman's chisel. Just bring it back when you're finished with it. Alright, Mbauta, time to get off to it. Mbauta, go. I think one problem I had with the story was how many Englishmen would have been that enlightened to basically, you know, fight for equality, or argue for equality. I don't believe slavery was illegalized in England for about 100 years after this story. Look at crate. A large crate was sitting in the shaft of light with letters stenciled on that Mbata did not recognize. It was cheaply made with poor quality nails, and some of the boards looked ready to fall off. Alright, chisel crate. Mbata wasn't sure how to open crate. Strong smell of tea rose from the cracks in the wood, but Mbata had no interest in the actual content of the crate. Carved statue. With the chisel and the wood of the crate, Mbata could finally create his offering. After several hours, Mbata was very pleased with the result, a fine rendition of his kingdom's god of fertility and good fortune. All that remained now was to return the chisel. Take idol. Mbata decided the idol was fine where it was. There was no need to move it. Open crate. Okay. Look at chisel. A simple workman's chisel with the word Sea Angel carved into the handle. How could I, Trilby, possibly have known what Mbata was carrying that day? Well, apparently Trilby could not. Okay, let's go back up. Ooh, gods. Oh, I don't want to go. It hurt. Oh, no. Oh, gods. What the? No. Oh. Alright. That's still not good. That's still scary. The vision faded, and I felt myself being hurled forcefully back into the present day. That tall, thin creature, that black-clad ghoul, what was its significance to my predicament? Why did it appear again and again throughout history to spread death and horror? There is no connection to the idol's shape or Mbata's tribal deities. The tall man was no fertility god. It must have been connected to the wood of that crate somehow. There had been a name on that crate. Mbata hadn't been able to read it, but I, looking through his eyes, had. O'Malley Shipping. Could the owner have been an ancestor of Siobhan? It was a flimsy possibility, but at that point, my only lead, I resolved to discuss this with Siobhan at the earliest opportunity. Take paper. I recognized it as being from the same source as the one under the painting in the lobby. Victim 4, the slave. The fourth man who desired judgment was the slave who had not been brought Freyhund's message, and who tormented the wood that was the prince's soul with a sharpened blade. The prince came to him, and he struck the slave down, and he knew the name of the king. And the prince said, "Not one of your household shall I leave alive, slave, for thrice now have I brought my warning, and any who still fail to heed shall be named as fool, and judged most unworthy in our sight." Okay. Finally, Oh, it's you, Terry. I thought you might have been the serving staff at last. Talk to Abed. I need to be more specific. Talk to Abed about something. Ask Abed about Sea Angel. Do you know anything about Siobhan's family tree, Abed? Specifically whether or not they ran a shipping company in the late 18th century. What on earth makes you think I would know that? I really don't know. I just thought I'd ask. Why don't you ask Siobhan? Instead of wasting my time and yours with questions she could easily answer herself. Douchebaggery! Take pill. I took another pill. That should keep me calm for a while, I believe. So that I don't end up switching dimensions. I'm pondering to myself whether or not I want to put music into these, but I highly doubt it, since the game switches over to musical sections fairly often enough, and I don't want to interrupt the sort of vibe that the game is generating. Knock door. There was no reply. Open door. Nothing there. Open door. Open door. I had no business breaking into a room with someone I didn't know. Knock door. There's no reply. Where the hell is this girl? The door was locked. Use lockpicks. I had no business breaking. Fuck. Okay. I just don't want to end up going into that other dimension. So I'll keep popping pills because heaven knows that that must be healthy. Back upstairs. To the right, to the right. Look. The hallway was decorated identically to the majority of the rooms in the Clan Brownwind Hotel, warmly and pleasantly. Open door. Knock door. Ugh, gets frustrating after a while. Lock door. There's no reply. Open door. The door's locked. Door. That's my room. Open door. Oh! Oh God! Talk. Father, why? Look, you can't move. That freaked me out. I don't. Ugh. Can't move. Oh, inventory. Father. Ah. Yeah, come for me. Come for me. I'm not afraid of you. Freaking scary. There's no reply. Okay, well, I have to figure out where Siobhan is. I thought these were supposed to keep me from that. I suppose I didn't actually go into the other dimension. I sort of just had a hallucination, so all's fair that is fair. Back down. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just isn't the same. Where is this girl at? Oh, there she is. Mr. Relby, have you seen any of the hotel staff anywhere? I'm afraid not. Perhaps they got to bed early in these parts. Right. Ask girl about ship. Do you know anything about the history of your family? I wouldn't be much of a history student if I didn't know. Now would I? I'm researching my family tree as part of my diploma. That's ideal. I appreciate this may sound like an odd question, but trust me when I say it's important. Did your family run a shipping company in the late 18th century? That is an odd question, but I do remember reading something about O'Malley's shipping. I'd have to check my notes. I left them in my book bag. Could you meet me in my room in about 5 minutes? I'm in 2A, next to Abed. Certainly. I'll see you there then. Oh, I'll be there, baby. Let's get it on. Wow. Let's get it on. Ask Abed about dinner. Ask Abed about Bethan. You haven't seen any of the hotel staff since our first conversation in your room. No, it's very odd. I can only presume the hotel's closing, but it's still light outside. Alright, use pill because I'm freaking out. Every time I make a transition, I'm not even lying, I'm literally jumping out of my chair. Look at that quality animation. I mean, who knows how they came up with these intensely robust sprites. Alright. Knock door. Door's open. Alright, open door. Come in, please, Terry. You have the papers? Must you always get right down to business? Come and sit down. Let's talk. Oh, I'll talk, baby. How are you feeling? We were a little worried about you. I have these moments of illness. What do you want to talk about? DeFoe Manor. Oh. Kind of interests me. I was really into the media coverage of the incident at the time. This client of yours, the one who wants the figurine, what does he know about it? Well, he has an interest in the occult, and there's some nonsense story going around about it. Something about the idol being a vessel for an evil ghost. I wasn't really paying attention. Really? I don't remember hearing reports about that in any of the reports. Oh, don't remember hearing anything about that. No, you wouldn't have. It wasn't widely. Have you heard the story that Trilby was in the house? I could feel cold sweat drooling down my spine. Every fiber of my being was concentrated on not giving any outward sign of alarm as Siobhan spoke of my secret name with wide-eyed enthusiasm. No one believes it, but Simone Taylor insisted it was true right up until, well, you know. She says he saved her from the house. I think that's a little far-fetched. That's exactly what Abed says. He says a ghost is one thing, but throwing Trilby into it just makes it seem silly. Truth be told, I don't think Abed believes in Trilby any more than he does ghosts. He's so grounded in reality. A sensible attitude. Have you always been an antique dealer? Oh, gods, Siobhan, please. I came here to talk about. Let me put that another way. Have you ever been an antique dealer? Okay, things are not looking good. You're him. You were in DeFoe Manor. And now you've come here to finish off the ghost. Siobhan, I always knew there was something else. In this world, there was something better, more glamorous, just below the surface. Yeah, this is not glamorous, darling. Will you take me with you? Oh, hell no. There's nothing glamorous about what I do. I live in shadows that threaten to consume me every single day. And if you pursue this any further, you're going to walk straight into one. What are you talking about? There's something extremely dangerous in the hotel. Don't know what it is, but ooh, gods. Oh, no. I just realized I haven't saved. Move. I was a little too concerned about my predicament to do that. Alright, kick. Kick. Oh, no. Kick. Ghoul. Kick. Demon. Boom. Oh, gods. I did forget. Siobhan was out cold but uninjured. She could probably be safe on her bed while I continued my investigation. Oh, God. I did forget that we sort of kick her in the face at that point. Alright. Creepily kiss Siobhan. I don't understand the word kiss. Is there not a romantic bone in your body? Come on, Yahtzee. Look at bag. It was a perfectly ordinary student's backpack for carrying books and personal possessions. Open bag. Under the circumstances, Siobhan probably wouldn't mind. There were a few textbooks, a half-empty water bottle, and a large folder marked O'Malley family history. This, I decided, was my quarry. I flipped through the pages until I reached the information relevant to the 18th century and read my discoveries out loud. The Liverpool-based O'Malley Shipping Company ran for 3 generations of the family in the mid to late 18th century, until the loss of one of their clippers drove the company to bankruptcy. The owner at the time, Jacob O'Malley, placed the blame somewhat irrationally on a shipping crate which family legend alleged to be haunted, and that had been on the ship at the time. There are numerous tales of bizarre events surrounding the crate, and the story of the crate's origin is no less mysterious. It goes that a strange young man came to a carpenter's at the Liverpool dockyards with a very expensive-looking harpsichord, which he insisted be smashed up and the wood used for whatever purpose the carpenter desired. He refused to leave until the instrument had been utterly broken into its component parts in front of his eyes, and the wood sent to be made into crates for O'Malley shipping. When pressed for his name, the man identified himself as one Jack Frayhorn. Oh, gods! Freaking me out. The Rooms of Jack Frayhorn, July 28th, AD 1778. So what trifle have you been wasting your father's money on now, Jack? What does it look like? It looks like a virginal. Harpsichord, actually, in the Flemish style. Quite old. Quite expensive. Well, I suppose I should be grateful that something is distracting you from the occult for once. I fear you may be speaking too soon, my friend. Oh, gods. I should have known, you and your silly obsession. So, what devilry inhabits this magnificent instrument? The instrument as a whole is for the most part untainted by the ethereal realm. But its keys are what spark my interest. Unusually, they have been carved from centuries-old English oak. And that's the interesting part. I would not be disheartened by that sharp tongue of yours. The wood has gone through many incarnations before being incorporated into this device. Items of furniture, building material, in fact, just over 200 years ago, was part of a wall. A wall of a certain inn on a well-traveled road in Wales. The Unicorn. I'm so pleased you remember. I could hardly forget it, the way you have been obsessing quite heartily over it as of late. Your correspondence persist in filling your head with rubbish about ghosts and demons. I count myself very lucky to have tracked down even a small piece of that hostelry. I know I've already told you some of the wonderful stories attached to it. And this instrument has had its fair share of mysterious happenings. The usual batch of strange noises, sudden madness, and inexplicable deaths. See sense, my friend. This curiosity of yours for all things ungodly has no doubt already befouled your immortal soul. You're a fine fellow, Wilbur, but you have not a drop of romance in your body. Now stop browbeating me for my inquiring mind, and let us take dinner. Mind you, that was a two-room house. Ooh, creepy music, creepy music, creepy music. That night, Jack was stirred from his bed by the sound of music emanating from his new instrument. His first thought was anger, mostly because a harpsichord was an antique never intended to be played. But then he listened to the haunting melancholy tune and felt his stomach roll inexplicably with fear. Who's down there? Wilbur, is that you? I don't like this, and I'm going to save. Those of you who have been following along in my games know that whenever I play something frightening, I save quite often. That's exactly what's going on right now. Jack Frayhorn was a man of modest means and desired little for comfort. The only pieces of furniture to speak of were a bed and desk. Look at candle. Jack stared blankly. Look out window. The streets of Liverpool were quite appropriately dark at this time of night. Not cool. Jack could not take a step further, because he realized with a lurch that he recognized the dark figure that sat at the keys. He had read of this strange entity that recurred frequently in stories surrounding the Unicorn Inn and the objects that were later constructed from its wood. And he knew with absolute certainty that the tall man would destroy him, or he not destroyed first. Jack knew that any attempt to interact with the creature could spell disaster. The tall man was playing a haunting melody on the harpsichord. Except for his hands, his body was completely still. Look at hands. Can we jump out the window? Jack took the gun with him to confront the intruder. by Grabthor's hammer. You won't take me, demon. Oh, gods. Wilbur. No. Oh, gods, no. I could have sworn. Oh. I know you. You have. Oh, gods. Please forgive me, your majesty, for my transgressions. I am a worthless, craven fool, not worth a second of your precious time. I don't think he's going to let you live. I don't remember, but I doubt it. I'll be yours forever, my body, mind, and soul. Yeah, that's really wise. Thank you, my lord. Ugh. Who sells their soul to a demon? Identified himself as Jack Freehorn. This may have well been the same Jack Freehorn who went on to form a bizarre religious cult. A depraved group of paganist worshippers who was spoken of with much derision by conventional society. With my latest flashback, my knowledge of the history of the cursed wood gained another step. Before the crate had been a harpsichord, and sometime before the harpsichord it had been part of some kind of hostelry in Wales, an inn called the Unicorn. Why did that ring a bell somewhere in my recent memory? I'd definitely seen something in the Clanbronwyn hotel that was linked to the place, but where? Oh, Siobhan is gone. So apparently while I was reading a book, she decided to take off. More cultish nonsense. Victim 3, Freehorn. The third man who desired judgment was Freehorn, who had bought from those who made luxuries with the wood that was the prince's soul. The prince came and struck down the lover of Freehorn, and Freehorn knew the name of the king. So apparently Yahtzee decided that, fair enough, these two young men were gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it just seems a bit out of left field, I suppose. And Freehorn said, I know you now, O prince who was the arrogant man, and I anticipate your wish, and I will devote myself to spreading the teachings you have brought me and the love of our king. And the prince was satisfied, and Freehorn called all those who would listen, and they formed an order of blessed agonies that would work to redeem the follies of the men of technology. Well, that's grim. Good time to scare to death 3. Pop a pill. Took another pill and waited for the anxiety to lift, but it did not. To my unending concern, I realized that the decay of the alternate hotel had spread either to me or the pills, and they no longer worked. I had to find a way to restore their effect, or at least another method of calming myself. That's comforting. That means we've got no way of escaping the hotel at this point. I mean, if it should switch over into the demon world, or the shadow world, or whatever it is you want to call it. Well, that's fun. And the whispering is back in my ear, so... From somewhere to the west, I heard the familiar sound of a door being unlocked. Lankman? Oh, that's not good. Lankman, wait. Yeah, no. Okay. Not cool, not cool. Open door. Open door. Open door. Oh, this is fun. Like, what had once been a kitchen was now some kind of torture room. I found myself wondering whether it was used for extracting information or merely to entertain the alternate hotel's hellish proprietor. Look out window. A sole window looked out into an orange-tinted backyard in a state of advanced disrepair. Alright, open door. The emergency door refused to budge. It appeared to be jammed. Look at corpse. A horribly tormented soul was still lying on the central counter, limbs arranged oddly from spasms of agony. Great. Alright, look at this. grimy cellar had been abandoned for some time. A large section of floor was worn away. The worn-down area had been conquered by a swarm of greasy black beetles. Look at the corpse. At least 2 individuals had met with sticky ends down here. One of them had been almost completely picked clean by the beetles. The other I noticed, was heavily decayed except for its hand, which was fresh and pink. I wondered if this had something to do with the puddle of water it was lying in. Right, so that's important. Use meat on beetles. Just to be safe. Look at beetles. Insects were too busy fighting each other for a mouthful of the rancid flesh to notice me. Enter hole. Let's see if we can do that. Could possibly squeeze under the foundations with the gap as narrow as it was. Look at water. It had a curious color to it, and the drops seemed to glow with their own illumination. The liquid was having a strange effect on a nearby corpse. Use water with pills. I should probably be more specific. Put water in bottle. Use water in pill bottle. Dip pills. Put pills in water. Just drink it then. Drink water. It was almost as if the water was drawing me to it. Not like a scrambling thing in my mind, like the chisel or the painting, but more like a beckoning siren. I couldn't help myself. I crouched down and dipped my hand in. Felt uncommonly refreshing, and brought an amount up to my lips, and my unhygienic surroundings forgotten. A pleasant feeling of simultaneous coolness and warmth spread from my stomach. I realized that the water had some sort of rejuvenating effect. I had no explanation for this, but at the time, I didn't care. I was beginning to feel in the back of my mind a familiar tickling sensation that indicated a reality shift, so I swiftly scooped a few drops of the liquid into my pill bottle, shaking it through the remaining pills. Bam! Just like that. The hotel cellar was lit up by a single spotlight and seemed almost completely bare but for some dusty cardboard crates and a wine rack. Like wine. Saw no reason to take it. Open crate. They contained nothing but chipped crockery and old newspapers. Had no interest in them. Alright, so we've revived our way. We can now go back and forth from the shadow dimension once again. Right, emergency doors stay shut in both realities. Open fridge. Right, nothing. Alright, so we're 3 chapters in. Oh, Terry, it's you. Have you seen Siobhan? I was about to ask you that. What did you do to the girl? I hope you don't intend to seduce her away from my service. Abed, I need you to understand. You and I and Siobhan are all in critical danger. There's something evil in this hotel, and it's closing on fast. Mr. Elby, I've been over this hotel several times. Apart from us, there's absolutely nothing here. Please keep your fairy stories in the playroom, where they belong. Yeah, so it's not unusual that the entire staff is gone. Ask about Bethan. Oh, ask a boot. Say it like a Canadian. That's hardly a relevant discussion point. Ask about unicorn. Ask Abed about Bethan. Ask Abed about unicorn. Do you know anything about an inn called the Unicorn? Ah, you noticed my shingle? I picked it up as a curiosity at an antique fair a couple of years ago. Dates all the way back to the Elizabethan period from what I understand. But I just can't find a buyer for the damn thing. Don't suppose you have got any clients who might go for it? Possibly. Do I have your permission to examine it? Of course. Might have to touch it to assess the texture. By all means, do so. As long as you're not going to test its strength over your knee or anything. Why would I do that? Give cola to Abed. That might have made sense another time and place, but not then. Drink some cola. Took a swig of the beverage. I could almost feel the caffeine starting to heat up my brain. He must not drink much soda. Alright, touch unicorn. The shingle's design was a simple one, of a unicorn's head in half profile, painted with average ability on a dark oak backing. As I pressed my fingertips to it, however, the design seemed to extrude from its backing like a hologram, and seemed to draw closer until my vision was filled with wood grain and mediocre brush strokes. I could vaguely detect the professor speaking to me on the very edge of hearing, but by the time I realized it, I was already gone. Ugh. Somewhere in Wales, July 28th, AD 1581. Owen Somerset, travelling merchant, was on his way back to his wife and family in London, having concluded some business dealings in Ceredigion. Caught suddenly by a summer storm, he spied an inn by the side of the road and marveled at his good fortune. Faith, 'tis an evil storm that blights the sky tonight. I must have the Almighty on my side to find myself so close to an inn as it broke out. Perhaps. The innkeeper seemed quite taciturn, but Owen was in a good mood and was determined for it not to leave him. Alright, let's open that door. Owen had no intention of leaving the inn until the storm had cleared. It would be rude to barge into the bedroom without first acquiring the innkeeper's permission. Ask man about man. Good evening, sir. Would it be possible to secure a bed for the night? Be a wiser man than I. Go from this place and never return. What? There's a curse upon this inn. I will not have an innocent doomed to the same fate as I. That's silly. Oh, man. I have plenty of gold to pay for my board. The devil cannot be bought off, my friend. What devil? What is the nature of this curse? The inn was built by my father 20 years ago. From the wood of a fallen oak, he stumbled upon an island north of here. He noticed human bones scattered around, but did not heed them. The inn has been a curse on our bloodline ever since. Madness and death claims those who stay here. This time last year, it claimed my father. Soon, I am certain it shall claim me. That's grim. Why do you remain? I do not believe in fleeing from the mistakes of the past. If the Almighty wills that my family must pay for our errors, then this I accept. But I would not see another suffer for our sins. Leave now before the shadow takes you. Ask about shadow. You just used that word. Ask about demon. Ask man about demon. Sir, I have little patience for fables, and even less for riding after sundown in the middle of a downpour. Lend me a room, and I shall take the responsibility for my own well-being. You will insist. Not only will I insist, but I will pay whatever price you ask. Go then, take the upstairs room, and if you remain by the moon, you shall pay nothing at all. Ask man about man. I shall retire then. I hope you will not come to regret your haste. I should think not, sir. I said good day. Alright, look at this. Very lovely. Open desk. It's completely empty. Seemed to be only for show. Look out window. The rain continued to pour down outside. Owen found the contrast quite warming. Look at bed. The beds were simple peasant fare. The mattresses no doubt stuffed with prickly straw, but they would have to suffice. Owen wasn't close enough to the bed. Owen lay himself down, intending only to test the bed's softness, but, in his exhaustion, he quickly succumbed to sleep. In the early hours of the morning, something jolted Owen from his slumber. A piercing sound? No, a piercing smell. Look at smoke. Nothing seemed to be burning in the bedroom, so the smoke had to be coming from downstairs. Look at bed. Alright. Wait, what? Look at bed. The top sheet had been disturbed by Owen's sleep and now lay wadded up untidily at the foot of the bed. Look out window. I'm sorry. I'm just playing with this. Take sheet. Owen took the sheet with him, presumably for comfort. Oh, gods. Look at fire. Blaze had been set before the front door. By whom? The innkeeper? Use sheet. Douse flame. You don't know the word douse, do you? What in... Oh, gods. It's him, the innkeeper. What kind of... Who could have... Oh! Gods. Freaked me out. Gods. Oh, nearly had a heart attack. Once again I returned, disoriented from my vision. I was closing in on the source of the madness. The innkeeper had said that the wood came from a tree on an island. Could that have been Clanbranwen Island? Given what I was seeing, it seemed a valid, if worrying, possibility. Besides that, it seemed I had no other leads. So what would I do? I was determined not to let the trail end there. If there were just a single clue. Take paper. I'm right next to it, Trilby. Take paper. Trilby, I know you're following a trail. Go to the roof if you wish to proceed. Lankman. Victim 2, the innkeeper. The second man who desired judgment was the innkeeper, who had bought the wood of the tree and built from it his house. The prince came to him and his guest, and he struck the innkeeper down, and the innkeeper knew the name of the king. And the prince turned to the innkeeper's guest, and he said, "You I shall not let live, for once before have I made this warning, and still my soul aches with what is done to the wood that is my soul, and I will spare no man who injures me in this way." And the innkeeper's guest knew the name of the king. Well, yep, that happened. Alright, well, let's save. I believe we're done with chapters 2 through 4, so hopefully that keeps you entertained. And I'm going to clock out so that we can actually have chapters and, divide this Let's Play into a few pieces for once. We're an hour in anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed yourself. When we come back, we'll be in chapter 5 of Trilby's Notes. This is Daiichi, signing off.